Hello everybody. Right. Because I talked about Count Dankula not long ago, I thought it would only be fair, and I knew Tim would want this, so Tim, this is for you, that it would only be fair if I discuss this as well, because it is along a very similar line, it's just different. For those that for the last day or so have lived under a non-internet related world, which some of us do, are probably completely unaware that the crazy uncle of the internet has been banned, or shall I say, removed from certain social media platforms. In fact, I will get my facts up so that I'm not telling porcupines. Alex Jones. We'll use the Guardian. Okay. That was going off outside. So, I won't show you what I'm looking at, because then you won't be able to see me. Not that that's a bad thing. Don't worry, the hair's not wet. The hair's not greasy, it's wet because I've just washed it, because it was greasy. If you don't believe me, go over to my Twitch and watch today's live stream, and you will see exactly how greasy my hair was. It was a mess, it needed washing. I went... Anyway. Facebook, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, all ban InfoWars' Alex Jones. Now, from what I've heard, YouTube and Facebook... Right, YouTube has deleted the Alex Jones channel. I'm not sure if InfoWars have a separate channel. In fact, I will double check. YouTube. Why are you doing that, you stupid bint? Right, so Alex Jones. No, InfoWars. Because I know the Alex Jones channel's gone. Yeah, there isn't an InfoWars channel at all. But I tried to watch a Alex Jones channel video last night after I heard this, and then I thought, I'll just test it. In the search results at that point, I don't think the system had completely caught up. It would show videos from the Alex Jones channel, but you couldn't watch them. It would say this video is no longer available because the account has been closed due to repeated violations of community guidelines. YouTube pretty much cited the same thing and have deleted videos, as well as numerous pages that were associated with Alex Jones and InfoWars. iTunes, I think by this point they may have deleted his entire library, but they deleted a large portion of it. The same with Spotify. And the thing all of them were saying it was under was bullying and harassment of children and inciting violence. Now, we all know what Alex Jones is. He's the crazy uncle of YouTube that just says things for the sheer hell of saying things. He's nasty for the sheer hell of being nasty. He is horrid for the sheer hell of being horrid. It's just the way he's built. And unfortunately, that's the way things are with him. However, and this is where my huge issue with him comes to, is when you're on a platform that's not a government platform, say for example, I use this as a perfect example. Here in the UK we have, I think the PBS is the same in America, we have a news network, not a news network, a channel network in this country. I think it's 4 or 5 channels in total, that is paid for by the British public by something called a TV licence, and it's called the British Broadcasting Corporation. Now, okay, using that as a bad example, because we technically, legally don't have free speech, but even though the BBC is run by us, they answer to the government, because it's the government that give them the money from the taxes and whatnot. Now, even though that happens, they will still speak up about stuff that the government does that people don't like. They will still speak up about people in the government that are doing the wrong things. That still happens. But they will show a lot of things that wouldn't be allowed on, say, Sky One, which is another channel, or Sky Living, now known as Sky Witness, because of the different rules for each corporation. Like I said, the BBC is pretty much an extension of sort of the government, but sort of not, because they are independent, but they're not. So when you look at private corporations, they have their own laws and their own rules that you have to abide by. And YouTube are very strict. The only problem with YouTube is, like with Facebook, I can kind of understand it because they are strict, and especially of late. When somebody says something that's completely untrue, there is no evidence that supports it, they are well within their rights because it breaks their community guidelines to delete that person. If I did it on my Facebook account, I would expect them to do it. So, but with YouTube, because these specific guidelines are completely unknown and completely random, in other words, we don't know jack shit about them. We don't know if I say shit 10 times in a video that it gets demonetized. Granted, I'm not monetized to begin with, but if I was, if I swore 3 times, would that mean my video is automatically demonetized? We don't know where the line is that they've put in place. We don't know what that line is. We don't know what information we have to stay on the right side of. We don't know if we're too left or if we're too right, we're too conservative, if we're too liberal. Is that going to affect us? And we have seen with channels like Philip DeFranco, that pisses me off, but that's a separate channel. That's a separate topic. With Phil, with a lot of the political commentators like Sargon of Akkad, Andy Worski, Blair White, people like that have all been demonetised. The numerous videos of mine that weren't even the slightest bit political that were demonetised because I was talking about a specific person or I was talking about a specific topic that was controversial. Now, they don't look at each individual case. It's just like, oh, all these people are talking about this topic. Well, we don't really want people to be talking about a terrorist attack. So why don't we demonetize all these videos? And then they say that being demonetized doesn't affect your ability, your level in the search results. But that's completely untrue. And it has been proved. Sorry. A lot of people, particularly with YouTube, like I say, with Spotify, iTunes, and Facebook, they are very specific. With YouTube, they do say you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. You can't incite violence, you can't incite hate crimes, and things like that, which are laws that exist in this country. It's like I say, legally, we don't have a declaration of free will, of free speech. We can say a lot, and generally in England, it's not really enforced, because if it did, a lot of people would be in trouble. But when people try and come into the country, or it happens in other parts of the UK, it is a bit of an issue. Because it all depends on... Best way to think of it is 3 different parts of the UK are like states. So while us in England might not enforce a specific law, Scotland will, which is what happened with Count Dankula. In England, if he'd have done that, he wouldn't have been arrested. But because he was in Scotland, it was a different set of rules entirely. More specifically, they enforced the rules where England wouldn't have done. Or else PewDiePie would have got in trouble for making the joke that the YouTube Heroes program was like Nazis. So, you see what I mean? But with YouTube, they have been accused of censorship for a long time. I don't agree with the vast majority of what comes out of Alex's mouth. I don't believe that Newtown was a false flag. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that the children were child actors and that no child died. And I think by this point he actually doesn't believe that anymore. He actually believes that it was a real shooting. But and a lot of other people are adamant that the vast majority of shootings are false flags. And him spewing that is making other people spew it and making other people attack people. So in the videos where he's going off and off and off and off and off about Newtown, it's basically saying these parents are trying to pretend that they've lost a kid, and they're trying to make everybody believe that their child died when their child probably never existed. And then he's wondering why the parents of some of those children are being vastly, vitriolically harassed to the point where they have to move 7 times. And he's saying nasty things about these children that died when he's saying that they never existed, that it's fake, that the families are fake, blah, 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 that everything was staged, that Anderson Cooper was, working for the government the whole time and things like that. And it's like, seriously? And then he wonders why he gets strikes. It's like because people are watching, people who have had children die in shootings, who have had children die in mass, in any type of incident where multiple people have died, in school shootings, in terrorist attacks. Those people are probably, those people and the people who sort of can understand what they're going through are the ones that are reporting his channel. And then he wonders why he gets strikes, and if you have more than 3 strikes, you're out. Although YouTube did actually say that he wasn't banned because, specifically because of something specific he said in a video. He'd had several strikes on the main channel, to the point where he couldn't live stream for 30 days or 60 days or 90 days or something. So what he did is he went and live streamed on another channel. So because he sort of circumvented the rules, so it would be like me getting a strike on this channel and then say, right guys, if I've got a live stream going tomorrow but it's on my other channel, and then I do a live stream on my other channel, I would lose both channels, which is essentially what's happened. I think there was an Alex Jones and an Infowars channel, and the two, he got a strike on one, so he went over to the other, and he ended up losing both. And that's the specifics of what happened. That because he circumvented the rules, he lost both channels. Now, I don't think he was being monetized to begin with. Not with the amount of strikes he was getting. There wouldn't have been a chance he would have been monetized. Not a chance in hell. If Phil struggles, then Alex, not a chance. And he does have his own website where he pretty much puts the entire podcasts and episodes and cut down versions of segments on his website. So he does have his own website where people can go and watch his stuff. So people are still going to go and search him out. People are still going to look him up because of what's happened. But I do think sometimes YouTube can be a little bit too quick with you're banned. We've seen it numerous times where they've been too quick and numerous times where they've been too slow. Okay, I'll use specifics. With the too quick, they deleted Martin Lewis's channel for something that wasn't even his fault. And they didn't do it once, they did it twice. Who else have they done it to? They've done it to Tim DeLaGhetto for stuff that Jake Paul's done 20 times worse, but Tim DeLaGhetto, A, doesn't have any monetization on his channel, and B, he's lost about 4. I'm just trying to think of all the people that have lost channels, because there is quite a few, but there isn't a few. And then you've got the instances where people were too slow. It's like, we all know, everybody knows Drama is run by Keemstar. But he says that it isn't run by Keemstar so that he can keep the channel, because as soon as YouTube realise that that channel is actually run by Keemstar, he loses that channel, because he's not supposed to have a channel. He's just seen as a presenter on that channel, as far as YouTube is concerned. So, on the flip side of that, you also have the instances where they've been too slow to act. John Cooking's both of his channels, Onision, Daddy of Five, Joy. How many times she broke rules, I do not know. And like I say, YouTube, if it was the same rules across the board for everybody, it wouldn't be an issue. But a lot of YouTube's rules are down to personal interpretation of the people that are actually looking at the videos. Now, the algorithm identifies swear words, identifies buzzwords like terrorist, bomb, gun, words like that, right? It will ultimately, the algorithm will automatically identify those words, and certain words will have a higher priority than others, which we found about a year ago when somebody found the codes. Because if you go Control-I on your internet, I think it's Control-I, or Shift-I, I can't remember which one is it. Control-I. Can't remember which one it is. Anyway, there's a shortcut that you can use online, which will bring up a panel at the side of you, which will give all the coding. And at one point, everybody realised that there was little numbers, like 1, 3, 3, 3, 2, 1, 4, and people did test to identify what number meant what word. However, YouTube quite soon realised that we've figured this out, and it said, which is a bit shitty of YouTube, but the fact that then flags up the video to be automatically demonetized, blah blah blah, and that a lot of the time a lot of strikes happen because of mass reporting, which again isn't always the best way to go about things, which this is one of the issues we have with the Heroes program. And the issue with mass reporting is, okay, I'll use an example. Most of you guys know I hate Joy. It's her opinion. She can say what she says. I didn't want her to delete her channel because that was where she would voice her opinion. But she putting herself out there meant that people like me could question that opinion and provide her with facts to counteract that opinion. If YouTube were more... Okay, I'll go back to my original point. A lot of the time what would happen is, if I did a video about Joy, and I was talking about, say, her behaviour towards Onision. Granted, I'm not Onision's biggest fan, but doing 17 videos in 24 hours is absolutely bonkers, and it is stalkerish. I do a video every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. I don't do 20 videos a day on the guy. Jesus Christ, I've got more time. I've got more important things to be doing than doing videos about fucking Onision every 5 minutes. And when I did videos on her, questioning the amount of videos she was doing on Onision, questioning the fact that the video was repetitive, and that half the time the facts that she was spouting were shit, every single one of Joy's fans would then hate bomb my channel. It's well known fact. Look, if you look back at my Joy videos, you will see a high number of dislikes. It's fine. And I have somebody, and I'm sure she's a Joy fan, because every time I do a video, I can guarantee you that within a couple of hours, if you come back to this video, once it's loaded as a video, it will have at least one dislike. And that's one of her fans that dislikes it, and I think I know who it is. Because it's the same person that's a fan of my YouNow account, despite the fact that she hates me. When me, her, and 2 other people tried to actually bury the hatchet, but she didn't want to. But then again, I digress. So, you have to think about the fact that videos will get hate bombed for one of 1,000 reasons. Disliking the fact the videos talking about disliking a specific person, like me disliking Joy, or the fact that, say, I did a video on Onision, and then Onision saw my video and then told all of his cronies to come to my video and dislike bomb it. That happens. And also about getting strikes put on. The only thing is, that only works half the time. When John said the shit that he said at Christmas, we all flagged that video. But because he deleted it before YouTube could go through it manually, it fucked himself over. It basically stopped him from getting a strike, and he knows what he's doing, because he did a video that I called him out for, where he was talking about the woman that he lived with, the married woman and her husband that he'd lived with in America for a month, and how she just threatened to burn the house down with him, and she'd actually named him and everything. And then not long after that video was put up, it was taken down because he essentially knew we'd get shit. So it was like, right, I'll put it on for a short amount of time, then take it off. And that's what he's like. And you have those that know those rules, but then you've got people that see what Alex does as he actually truly believes this shit, that he actually truly wants there to be all these wars going on, that he wants there to be a civil war, so he wants the government to come and try and take his guns away. He's saying that the water makes frogs gay and stuff like that. Half of the stuff that comes out of his mouth, I don't even think he believes himself. Half of it, I think, is an act. That he's doing it because he knows that the fact that he does, the way he acts gets him clicks. So he's thinking, well, if I act like this big guy, I'll get all these clicks and people can, people will be like, oh, Alex Jones, you're great. But no, he just makes himself look more and more of the fool, and he's just got to a point where people have either started believing the rhetoric to the point where they disagree with him, what he's saying. So then they flag his channel, or they flag a video, which then causes him to have strikes, which then causes restrictions, and then when he circumvents the restrictions, bang, both channels gone. It's like, it's a good thing, but it isn't. It's a good thing because we don't have to put him on YouTube anymore, but the flip side of that is, where's the line? Where does YouTube say the line is? It's another reason why I'm saying it's a shame is because then I could, if the channel was still up, I could look into it and see whether he puts in his tags comedy or satire or dramatization and stuff like that, which people do. But it's a slippery slope, and it's not one that a company as big as Google or Alphabet or whatever you want to call it should really be getting involved in. They should demonetize his channel. They should put restrictions on his channel where all he can do is upload videos, but say to him as an effect, either all your videos are age-gated, blah blah blah, and put very strict restrictions on him, or give him a set of guidelines and saying, look, these are the rules that you've broken in the past. These are why you've had your channel deleted. If we give you your channel back, you have to promise not to break those rules. And if he says he can't promise that, then they're well within the right. They're well within the right to delete his channel as it is, because it's their company and it's a private corporation. It's not a government. It's not a government corporation like the BBC or PBS or what's the Canadian one? God, I forgot what the Canadian one is. I sometimes watch it, you see. I think that's what it is. I think it's Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's the Canadian version of PBS and the BBC. And if it was them, it'd be a different rule, because those corporations are essentially owned by the government. It is well known that certain corporations in certain countries are owned and run by the government. You know. But it isn't well known that a lot of the time when this shit happens, Alex Jones doesn't have a leg to stand on because it's a private corporation. Now, he is trying to get the lawsuit thrown out because the parents that are suing him for slander, because of him saying that Newtown was a false flag, etc. He's trying to get that kicked out of court. And do I think that's going to happen? No. Because there's too much backstory. There's the fact that these parents lost a child. Then they find out that there's a large group of people on the internet that think that child never existed. And then they find out that this voice piece that's been given notoriety by numerous people, including the Young Turks, the President, Jesse Ventura, have given a voice piece to and have given some notoriety to, is saying it, and he has quite a large fan base in quite a lot of different countries. And then that fan base find that child's parents and then target them for harassment. That doesn't look that good to me. Now, bearing in mind, my speciality when it comes to the legal system is criminal, not libel. In this country, if he'd have done it, he probably would have been arrested. For those that aren't aware, although you should be, because I've mentioned this before, in this country you can say a lot. More specifically, like I said, in England, you can say a lot without getting arrested. The time that you do get arrested is when you either threaten public safety or incite violence. Those are the two times that the company will basically step in, which is usually with racism, mainly with racism. Not saying that we don't have racism in this country, we do, but it's weird. It's weird. I might do another video on that. But in this country, you can say what you want. Crying out loud, we had a TV program called Spitting Image where we had puppets that looked like the royal family. And that was back in the 90s. Basically taking the piss. The one that Prince Charles had like big chin, big, and when I say big ears, I'm on about his ears were like this big. Anyway, you can say a lot, but if you say certain things, it's illegal. For example, what John did at Christmas, we've mentioned this before, what John Cooking did at Christmas, he was in the UK when he said it, was illegal. And as a result, he could have got arrested for it. Why he didn't, I don't know. Primarily because half the time we can't differentiate whether he's in Newcastle or whether he's in London. Doesn't help matters. And there's quite a difference in distance relative to the UK. One's just a little bit further north than I am. One of them's right down south. So, if he was here in the UK, Alex Jones would have probably been arrested. He isn't, so he wasn't. In the US, this is classed under freedom of speech. However, in the US, even freedom of speech comes to a point where if you say certain things, you are then liable for defamation. And while it's not a criminal act, it is something where if somebody feels that their life, their business, etc. is at risk, then they will call you out for it. And they will say, "Oi, you've cost me X amount of money in lost earnings, you've cost me X amount of money in having to move 7 times, etc." Then I do think that there is a possibility that this case won't be thrown out. With relation to the family of the boy that died at Newtown that's suing Alex. Do I think YouTube are going to reverse its opinion? No. I think they've just got to the point where they've had enough. Do I think they're right in this situation? No. To me, the only time you should lose your channel is if you are basically being it's kind of a fine line, because you can say, well, what Onision does and what Alex Jones does is the same thing. And to a point, yes, that's right. However, one is seen, Onision says, in my opinion, Shane Dawson is a paedophile. In my opinion, Shane Dawson is this. My opinion, Shane Dawson is that. Or, I've seen evidence that proves this, but he's never actually provided that evidence. With Alex Jones, he says the facts are the Walters turning the Frogs gay. The facts are Newtown never happened. The facts are Adam Lanza never existed. The facts are those children never existed. And it's like, actually, you're wrong. And he, lots of the time, when he's proved wrong, his brain kind of goes into meltdown mode, and it's like, and then it just completely ignores it. And then when he gets called up about it, it's tries to backpedal, and then it's like, yeah, I said some, instead of just saying, yeah, I said some shit and I was wrong, he just either compounds it or he backpedals, but not in a very effective way. So, do I think YouTube should give him his channel back? Yes, but with restrictions. Do I think that YouTube will? No. I think they're done. It's happened too often, too many times, with too many different topics, because I think he's one of, don't count me as gospel, in actual fact, I'll double check before I say it. Alex Jones, bear in mind, I'm trying to spell words I don't know. Something. I'm just trying to find Alex Jones on Twitter. No. Right, okay. Newsweek from November of last year. Alex Jones calls Los Angeles phony. Las Vegas massacre phony. So I think pretty much any school shooting that happens, he's like, nope, they're doing it to try and get rid of our guns. But it's just the fact that he's not learnt his mistakes from Newtown. That there is evidence. Granted, it's not widely known by the public, but that's because it involves very small children. And this is coming from somebody who likes to look at criminal cases and likes to figure out if anything happened that shouldn't have happened during the investigation and things like that. I would love to see those case files so that I can, because there is a lot of issues where people say, yeah, but there was more than one shooter, but the person they thought was a shooter wasn't a shooter. It was a parent trying to get into the school. And there's a lot of misinformation, because when it first happens, there's a lot of information going out that's not necessarily true, which is where he has an issue, because they're saying a lot of the time at the beginning with Newtown, they thought that there was multiple shooters, which is why they went looking in the woods next to the school for another shooter. They found somebody, but it was actually a teacher, or it was either a parent. It was something to do with one of the kids. It was a family member or something. He was trying to get to the school, and then when the police showed up with guns, obviously he ran away, because that's what you do when you see somebody with your gun, you run away. Well, most normal people would. And Obviously, the police saw him, found him, put him in the car, and then they figured out who he was, so they released him. And it's like they also questioned Adam Lanza's brother, Ryan, because there was issues of whether or not it was him that was the shooter, as well as Adam. And all that information comes out at the beginning, and half of it is misdirection, half of it is misinformation from police radios, because everybody is in a frenzy. And then it's only in the months and months afterwards that everything gets streamlined and all the bullshit gets thrown away. That's how a criminal case works. When something happens, you get every single bit of information thrown at you. Well, he had an affair with such and such body, and he did this, and he did that, and he did this, and then you have to say right, that's false information, we don't want anything to do with it. That's true information, but nothing to do with the case. This is relevant information. That's what happens during a criminal case, but the press and people like Alex Jones tend to see the confusion that happens at the beginning of gospel, where they say, oh, well, there was this person running away from the school. Yeah, because he saw somebody with a fucking gun. Obviously he's going to run away. Normal people, you see a gun, you run the fucking way. And this comes from somebody who knows 2 people in this country that own a fucking gun. Bear in mind, we do have strict gun laws in this country, but you can own a gun, just not a handgun or an assault rifle. You can own a rifle or a shotgun, and that's what I know of people who own. But yeah, and it's like anything the government does, anything, whether it's left or right, whatever, Alex Jones jumps down the throat, and he's like, fucking hell, Alex, just shut the fuck up. Because he just makes an idiot out of himself. Once this goes live, probably tomorrow after I come back from town, I will link Phil's video from yesterday in the description of this video, because he has very similar opinion to me, where he can understand why. However, it is a slippery slope of censorship. And I will actually state this here. It's something I sort of hinted at earlier. Something I don't agree with regards to Phil. Now, most of you know I love Phil. I adore Phil. However, I found something out the other day that's very, very, very enlightening. Despite the fact that both companies, or news companies, have news channels and cover news stories, 2 different news networks on this platform, and I'm not talking about MSNBC, CNN, ITV, ITN, BBC News. No, I'm not talking about the established mainstream media. I'm just talking about the Young Turks and Philip DeFranco. The Young Turks can upload whatever they want. They've essentially been white-lighted. They can say and do whatever they want, but yet they won't allow Phil the same courtesy, despite the fact that he's had their back numerous times, despite the fact that he's been on this platform a hell of a lot longer than Jen has, despite the fact that he's been a big part of this platform for the last 10 years. And he's the reason why a lot of us have YouTube channels. And he's a reason why a lot of us tune in every day to watch him. I would sooner watch him, who's very controlled. I think the only time I've seen him get really, really worked up is with the whole Daddy of 5 situation. That's the only time I've ever heard him get really, really pissed off. And I can kind of understand it because he was a father. And he still is a father. He's 2 beautiful kids, bless him. Why YouTube can't give Phil the same perks that they gave Cenk, I don't know. Both own companies, both own news networks, where they cover topical situations, topical conversations, terror plots, school shootings, the good things that happen, because Phil even has a section for it called Today in Awesome. And he doesn't scream at a camera for 15 minutes about one storyline or one story. He gives you the facts, then he gives you his opinions. And I would much rather watch 6 hours of Phil than watch 5 minutes of Jenk. Sorry, Jenk, but it's true. But yeah, YouTube does puzzle me sometimes. Whether or not they will give Alex's channel back, I doubt it. I shall have to wait then. I'm going to come off before I blow a gasket. I need to calm myself down. I did do a live stream today on Twitch. The link is down below. I think it is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, it's not down there. I thought it was. I will put it down there. Oh, that's why I took it out. Because it changed. So I will put it down in the description. I was playing Subnautica for an hour. Well, nearly an hour. But like I do here, I have to fidget a bit. And I'm going to have to lie down for about an hour before I try and go to sleep. Pete's doing his first night tonight. He's doing some admin work that they can't do during the day, so he's in tonight, and then he's back on days for the rest of this week and next week. And then hopefully he'll be back on night soon, because he's almost up to 8-hour days, so he's getting there, bless him. Right. Stay safe, be good, have fun. Again, if there's ever anything you want me to talk about, the first link in the description is my Twitter. It's also linked on my my channel page. Head over there, give me a message, because I think I've got messages open. Or if not, if you follow me, I usually follow back, and you can message me and say, oh, could you cover this, could you cover that? If there's any murder cases you want me to cover, I will do. Because I am working on some non-fiction stuff at the minute, as well as fiction, as well as stuff for Comic-Con on Sunday. I do this to myself all the time. And then people wonder why I have to do live streams instead of videos. Well, it's also still fucking hot in this country, which is why I'm sweating. And I don't usually sweat in heat, unless it's sustained for fucking weeks. This girl's quite Spanish, for crying out loud. I can handle the heat. I handled COS in the middle of fucking summer. I can handle heat, but this is going on fucking nearly 7 weeks now. I used to it fucking trading. It's right. So, stay safe, be good, have fun, and I'll see you soon.